Well, it's a long history. That's why we're celebrating 50 years today. Obviously, it goes back to 62 formally, but don't forget that Julius Nyerere, the president of Tanzania at one time, came here as a student in 49, and many people from Africa came here before him.
The centre was formed in the context of decolonisation. There were two centres formed, one in Birmingham, one in Edinburgh. And Edinburgh was chosen because of this long connection between Africa and this city. Our first African graduate, formal graduate, was from the 19th century. It's important to study Africa because so much of what affects Europe or United States or wherever is affected by Africa. And a lot of what happens in Africa later plays itself out somewhere else. So much government policy on Africa in the past has been misinformed, and you can't really engage with Africa as a policymaker unless you really know what's going on and go beyond the kind of stereotypes which unfortunately tend to reproduce themselves with a remarkable speed in the case of Africa. Well, Edinburgh can say somewhat proudly that at the time of independence no fewer than 3 heads of state in Africa were Edinburgh graduates. The one that we're most proud of course, is Julius Nyerere, the President of Tanzania. Hastings Banda in Malawi, perhaps we're less proud of, but nevertheless he was a major factor in recent African history. And the one that people forget about is Dawda Jawara, the President of the Gambia, who actually played a very, very important role in the history of that part of West Africa. So we've had a number of these key figures, key political figures, but we've had others who've passed through our doors as well, literary luminaries of various kinds. I think now we've reached this point of takeoff, if you like. Now we can really consolidate in 2 areas. One on the interface between science and society, issues surrounding water, electricity, the environment, climate change, all those kinds of issues. We'll also balance that on the other side with a strong emphasis on African history, African politics and African popular culture. And the African Film Festival, African Emotion, which has been such a success, was founded by one of our postdoctoral students and has been supported by the centre, and that's the kind of activity that we would like to see developing in future years.
Obviously, I hope that this centre will continue to be as lively and dynamic as it has been. I'm so delighted that having stopped running the centre in 2005, it has gone from strength to strength. And as the principal said this morning, it is the largest centre for African studies in UK now.
This production is brought to you by the University of Edinburgh.